You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to tell our love story. Okay, you start.
Okay, we met when we were in high school, when we went to a theater camp in, I guess I was going to be a junior in high school.
And I was going to be a sophomore. And when we met, my mom was actually going into the hospital. She was pregnant, and she was about to have my baby brother. So I was staying at my aunt's house during this theater camp, and I had no makeup. I had one t-shirt, and the t-shirt they gave me the first day of camp. My hair was a frizz ball mess. And somehow, he was still like, that one. I still managed to woo him with my frizzy hair.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. I walked in on the first day, and there was this really tall boy in there, and it was just us. We were the only people there, and he was with another girl. And I was like, man, he's really cute, but I think that's his girlfriend. And so I didn't, go try to talk to him or anything. And then I think it was the next day, was it, that I was telling a story about these friends of mine that I knew from my theater at my school, and he turns around and goes, whoa, wait, are you talking about so-and-so? And I was like, yeah, how do you know them? And he was like, I was just at camp with all of them at Camp on the Coast last week. So he had just been at theater camp with all of my friends the week before, hearing all these stories about me.
Yeah, I knew who she was beforehand. I knew about her. I didn't know that it was her.
Probably not good things.
Fine things. But yeah, so we ended up doing a show together.
Mm-hmm.
We were cast in the same show, so we spent a week, 2 weeks. How long?
I think it was like a week and a half where we were together for 8 hours a day, every single day.
Yeah, I remember getting her number on the second day, and we went. I was staying at my director from high school was the one who brought me to the camp, and I remember going back to her house and just sitting on my phone, texting, and then waiting, and should have been doing something else, but was just essentially just waiting by the phone. And then...
Yeah, my mom was about to have a baby, and I was more interested in when his next text was going to come than when the baby was going to come.
So after the camp wrapped up, we decided that we were going to stay together. We were going to make this camp fling into whatever else it was going to be. Ended up dating for another year after that, right around.
Yeah.
And then...
I tragically moved to California, and thus we had to break up because we were 16 and couldn't afford plane tickets to see each other.
Yeah, and the long distance thing wasn't going to work at the time. I think we tried it for a week, and it didn't do what we wanted it to do. So,
Nope.
Yeah, we broke up. I ended up graduating high school, moved on, went to college, and in between some relationships that I had and
Your J names.
yeah, we went back and forth, and I kept coming back to her. So every time that I would think about what could have been, I ended up reaching back out or texting, or something ended up happening where we were back in each other's lives. And that happened a couple times throughout the course of college.
I remember one time in high school, my senior year, we'd been broken up for a while, and somebody said something about some crazy statistic that by the time you're 18, odds are you've already met the person that you're going to marry, which looking back on, there's no way that that's true. But we're kind of going around the room saying, if you found out that was true about you, would you be disappointed? And all my friends said yes, because we went to school with a bunch of losers. But I was the only one that said no, because I knew in my heart even then that if I'd already met the person I was going to marry, it was going to be you. So
Yeah.
it's like a fairy tale.
Yeah, so after college, we had been on again, off again for a couple times throughout the course of my 4 years of school.
And mine. He's making it sound like I didn't go to college. I did too. A different college, but I did too.
I moved to Chicago, and away from Texas, away from the past life that I had here in Texas, and kind of started new with some friends that I'd moved up there with. And after Hurricane Harvey, I get a text out of the blue from her who had told me to never talk to her again.
Never. Don't ever talk to me or my friends. Or my friends again.
And so I didn't. I was going to honor that. Made sure that I wasn't going to fall back into the same cycle of reaching out whenever I thought again about what could have been. So I just let it be. And after Hurricane Harvey, I get a text out of the blue from her asking about how my family was, because I had some family that was in Houston.
I'd been looking for an excuse to text him for a while, but after the last time I told him never to talk to me again, I needed a pretty good excuse. And so I was with my chaotic friend Courtney that day. We were just shopping and hanging out, and I was like, I think I want to text him. And she was kind of bored, so she was like, do it! And I did. And that was that. That was almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think we have talked every day since. We texted for pretty much multiple hours a day every day after the initial time that she had reached out. And then I had told myself that I wasn't going to do long distance again, and I didn't want to have that be a relationship again. And so essentially had said that if we were in the same place, we would be dating, but we weren't at the time. And
so I said, bet. And I packed my stuff and my cats, and my dad and I drove to Chicago. And
yeah, she got her own apartment, because I was living with a couple of friends, and she essentially moved in pretty soon after getting there.
I think I stayed at my place like one night a week for that year.
Yeah, so after we finished up that lease, we ended up getting a place together, officially moved in together. Pretty inseparable since. COVID hit, and I think that she was one of the only reasons that I wasn't miserable during that time. I think that if it hadn't have been for her, if I had been by myself, I think it would have been a very different year. But we made it through it and ended up becoming better people through it and having a stronger relationship because of it.
Yeah, our favorite thing to do is sit at home and hang out with each other. So having a year where we got to do just that was kind of nice. I feel like we've gotten a little bit, it's hard for us to get out of that, actually.
Yeah, it kind of changed who we were. We used to go out a bit more. I've always kind of been a homebody, but we went out a bit more. We don't do that as much anymore, but we're getting better at it.
Yeah, we're trying to be the 20-somethings we are.
Yeah. And so we moved back we were traveling every break to come back and see family, and we ended up having a conversation one night after we had been back that maybe we want to move back here, and that being close to home and being back to where we were was the best thing for us and the best thing for the family that we wanted to start and have. So we moved back here, moved back to Texas, and ended up proposing on my birthday.
On his birthday.
Back in 2021.
2021. Good job.
It's been so long.
It has been. It's been a long engagement.
Yeah, so back in 2021, ended up proposing, and it's just been everything that I hoped it would be.
And we're getting married in, I think it's 131 days, I think was what my little app told me today. So
I know June.
You know June 10th. You at least know the day.
No, I do. I just didn't know how many days it was going to be.
So yeah, we're looking forward to, I guess, not starting our lives together because we already kind of did that.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and we've kind of talked about this in the past about what we would tell our kids about high school sweethearts and how it doesn't tend to work out, but we'll be fine being an exception.
Yeah. The funniest part of all of this, I think, is that the baby that my mom had, his name is also Wesley. We had his name picked out for months. It was embroidered on stuff. And I came home and I was like, Mom, we can't name the baby Wesley. I met a boy named Wesley today and I really like him. And my mom was like, you're crazy. You're not going to marry some boy you just met at theater camp. And I guess we all learned a lesson that day.
Yeah. I remember after she moved and my mom and her mom were talking, And the overall consensus was if it was meant to be, they would find a way back together. And I kept trying to make that happen, and eventually it took her taking the initiative to actually have it happen. So it all worked out the way that it's supposed to, and I couldn't be happier.